If you have a gas generator that you use for backup power, you're probably familiar with this. This is actually an inlet box, but most people refer to this as a transfer switch. You basically wire this to your panel and you plug an extension cord from your generator or power station directly into this, and it puts power into your panel to power your loads when the grid is down. If you felt like going big, you might have something like this, which is basically the same thing, but it has a built-in sub panel right here. So you can choose what on this panel you want to either run off the grid or run off of your generator or power station. So both of these would be considered a manual transfer switch, and people have been using technology like this forever. If you've been shopping recently for a power station, you probably keep seeing the words smart transfer switch. And you're probably wondering if that's something that's actually useful or if that's just a money grab. And honestly, for some people, it really is a money grab. But for the right person, a smart transfer switch actually makes a ton of sense. So welcome back to the lab where our opinions cannot be bought. At this point, almost every brand has their own version of a smart transfer switch. They're a heavier duty whole home energy management panel. Basically, these have plugs right here on the front, so you can plug your power station directly into it, and then you wire everything up. This one looks a little bit fancy on the inside. You wire everything up, and it's able to manage a lot more than just a manual transfer switch would do, which all it really does is just put power directly in your panel. Right now, something like this from EcoFlow is about $2,000 on their website. The Anchor version is a bit cheaper, and it comes with a sub panel, which is huge. It's essentially the exact same thing. You got your plugs on the bottom right here to plug your power station into it. All your wiring is hidden right here behind this little panel. You connect to it through the app, and then it comes with a sub panel that you mount beside it, and this can control the loads in there, whether it's coming from your power station or whatnot. And it's a bit cheaper right now. It's about $1,400 with that sub panel on their site. And Jackery also has an option nowadays. They released this when they released the Explorer 5000, and this one's cool because it's more of a combo deal. You plug your power station in right here, but instead of needing a secondary sub panel like you would with the Anchor setup, it's actually got the sub panel built directly into it, which I think is actually very useful. And this one is currently the cheapest option. It's about $1,000 on their website. And because this one is the simplest, the easiest to set up, and the cheapest right now, we're gonna use this one as the smart transfer switch example in today's video. As always, we have links to anything that we mentioned in the description down below, as well as discount codes we can get to help save you guys money wherever we can. But why does a smart transfer switch exist? So why did a smart transfer switch even show up in the first place? The old way still works, it's just a little bit more clunky. And to be honest with you guys, we live in a modern world where even having electricity is no longer appreciated by most people the way it was not that long ago. Nowadays, simply having to walk out to my garage to flip a switch when the power goes out is considered an inconvenience. I have a manual transfer switch in my house. I have to go outside and flip it when the power goes out. I get it, it's really not that hard, and most people probably aren't bothered by the fact that they actually have backup power, but people aren't going to stop innovating and trying to make life easier for everybody, which is how you end up with something like this. The main issue people are trying to combat with something like this is that when the power goes out in this situation, you have to notice, you have to be home, you then have to go and prepare whatever power source you're going to plug into it, you have to flip some switches, you have to manage your own loads, and you have to make sure that you don't do something dumb. And that's fine if you're comfortable with doing this stuff, which a lot of people honestly are. But the whole point of this is to make backup power feel like less of an emergency procedure and more just like a proper professional system built into your home. And that's really the main difference. This gives you access to backup power, and this tries to make the experience feel better. In my opinion, the real pro to something like this is it allows someone who's not comfortable with making these connections or setting anything up, or they don't have to be educated on what it is that they're using. They just get to take advantage of a new technology. It's kind of like the internet. Most people don't actually know how it works. They don't know how to build something on there. They just take advantage of it every day. And so to be able to give people access to power with something like this, it goes a long way. If you ask me, there's 4 main reasons why I would buy something like this Jackery Smart Transfer Switch instead of just getting a regular manual inlet box. The biggest reason someone would want a smart transfer switch over a regular one is simple. It's just less manual steps. In a real outage, especially if it happens during the nighttime or if you're not anywhere near your electrical panel, most people don't want to go do an emergency procedure. They want the important stuff to stay running with very little effort, or them not even having to have realized that the power went out in the first place. The second reason is that it just feels more modern and more seamless. The Smart Transfer Switch is built around the idea of seamless switchover. When this thing is paired with Jackery's Explorer 5000 Plus, the switchover is 20 milliseconds, meaning if you had a bunch of stuff running in your home and the power went out, this would realize switch over to taking power from your power station so quickly that the lights don't even flicker. Like, you wouldn't even realize it happened. And in our testing with this switch and the Explorer 5000, we found that to be accurate. The third reason is that if you use a system like this right, it can actually make you money. With a regular transfer switch, once it's installed, it's basically just a piece of hardware in your house. Every time you want to engage or disengage power coming from your generator or power station, you have to go manually do it. Something like this, you can set up different automations within the app where basically on top of all the things that you can program and do with this, you can do something called peak shaving. So you can have it where this will turn on during the night. It'll charge your power station when the utility rate is really low. And then during the day, when the utility rate is really high, it will switch over and start putting power out to your loads from your power station, which basically shaves that like really high peak rate off of your bill. It's not going to make you rich, but what it can do is help you justify spending more money on something like this because it is a more expensive system. Because within a year or 2 years, depending on how much money you spend, you'll actually be able to probably pay the whole system off just with how much you save on your bill. And having app control is huge for anyone who wants to see what's happening with their home, manage their loads, or feel like their system is more integrated with their house than just, like we said earlier, an emergency procedure. And the fourth thing is it can cover more of the house. Typically, if you're gonna get something like this, you wire it into your panel, but these are often limited. This one, for example, is only rated for 30 amps. So you can only really do 2 15 amp outlets or whatever with something like this. You can get them rated at about 50 amps, but they're not gonna be super crazy. Something like this gives you access to obviously 12 whole breakers, whereas this just taps into your panel and you have to figure that out yourself. That's actually a whole nightmare. But you can see right here, even the grid input is a 100 amp breaker, meaning you can put tons more power through something like this than you're ever gonna get through a little transfer switch like this. And since we used this as the example in today's video, we showed you guys this briefly when we did the Explorer 5000 review, but we never actually made a video on this thing, and we have had it set up here at the lab, put it through some testing, make sure it works as advertised. So we want to share with you guys a couple things that we like and don't like about it, starting with peak shaving. I already kind of mentioned how that works and what it is, but the fact that you can do it through something like this, we really, really like. We also think it's pretty cool because a lot of people probably try to install this themselves. If you go ahead and actually pull this door off where all of your breakers are blocked, it triggers a little safety switch right here and it instantly kills all the power within the panel. So this little safety guy will make sure that you don't get electrocuted and die while you're working on this, which is nice because it's like a DIY system that a lot of people are gonna try to do themselves. So it's cool that it makes it a little more comfortable for everybody at home. Something else that's really nice with this is that when you have the Jackery 5000 connected to the Smart Transfer Switch, you can still use all of the ports on the Jackery. Not all power station companies give you access to that. A lot of times if you're connected to the transfer switch that company makes, the power station basically becomes a dud. You can only get the power that's going through the transfer switch. So what's cool is you could have the Jackery in your garage wired to this. It's powering something in your living room, but you can walk up to it, plug your phone in or plug a power tool in or whatever, and still run it directly from the unit. And it's pretty versatile when you have this connected to that Explorer 5000. It's not just set it and let it go. If you have the app, you can do a bunch of things. You could do the time of use settings. Like I said earlier, that's for peak shaving. You can set up state of charge reverse thresholds. So you could basically tell the unit when to stop outputting, when to start inputting based on where the actual percentage of the battery's at. And the connection is bi-directional that connects this to the Jackery. So you actually only have to have one cable going between the units. It sends power to the Jackery through it, and it sends power back up to the transfer switch to the same cable, so it's nice and clean. The only buzzkill is because it's proprietary, you can only use it with the power stations that Jackery lets you use it with. So at the end of the day, who should buy a smart transfer switch? I would say anybody that just wants simplicity in their life. If when the power goes out, you're fine with walking to the garage and digging around and plugging stuff in and flipping the breakers and then monitoring your neighbor's house to see when the power comes back on, to then go back out to the garage and then disconnect everything and flip your breaker back just to find out the power went back out, and then you got to do it all again. Or you could just get something like this. It'll earn you your money back if you peak shave with it, which is a real thing and it does work. And it's just seamless. Power goes out, your essentials go on. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to lose any sleep. It doesn't matter. If you're just looking for simplicity, if you don't want to do the messy, this is a great option. And out of all of the smart transfer switch options right now, I would recommend looking at something like this Jackery. It's affordable. It's kind of all built into one unit and it works really well in our testing. So we will leave links to this in the description down below, as well as any coupon codes, like I said earlier, to save you guys any money where possible. Make sure you guys are subscribed if you are not already, and we will catch you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out and stay charged.